Hello and welcome to another episode of Conversations Around Cultural Heritage, a podcast from the Project Transition, where we talk about the challenges of working with heritage of diverse communities. I'm Ana Carvalho, and today our guest is Botan Maghdid, historian and professor at the Soran University. In this episode, we talk about minority communities and social inclusion in the Kurdistan Region of Iraq. We explore the challenges around cultural heritage recognition and preservation, and the role of education and public policy in shaping more inclusive societies. Let's get started. Welcome, Botan.
Thank you.
In the Transition Project, we focus on preserving the cultural heritage of minority communities in the Kurdistan region of Iraq and in Yemen. So, from your experience, perspective, what does the term minority communities mean, and why is it still important to talk about the heritage of minorities today, especially in contexts like Iraq and Yemen?
Thank you, Anna. Thanks for the University of Iran for this opportunity to talk about this important topic right now in Kurdistan, Iraq, and in the Middle East as well. So for the minority, it's the word has been, we're dealing with the word, because it's the word that gives you a sense of that. Once you're going to talk about the minority, then you have to know who is the majority. So that's, once you're going to start with the minority, you know who are the majority. So we need to identify the majority. Within the majority, they give you a sense that people are, in terms of the structure of power, that are higher than the rest. So these are, I say this term, we don't like it anymore in our region. So we have started to use another term, which is called pekata. In Arabic, called mikawinat, which is a component of the society. They are not majority. We are not dividing the society in terms of the majority or minority. Instead of the people who have the same right, but they are component. We are not numerically defining the people in the society. That's been settled in the Constitution of Iraq, and again with the KRG's parliament has been decided. This is part of the regulation has been issued a few years ago. So this is why it's important for us to start to thinking about from out of the box. This is our component. So pekata. So this is important to identify this or at the right from the beginning. Within the Kurdistan regions, so now we have the historically the region has been for a long time has been from mosaic from different people coming from outside, coming inside. So this is why we can divide the what we can call this for the sake of the understanding for the English speaker or the few who can understand the English. So I'm gonna continue to call them minority for that reason. So we can divide them in terms of the. So the majority are strictly who are Kurdish ethnically, religiously who are Muslim. Then when they come to the sect, they are Muslim Sunni. So these are the people numerically in Kurdistan who are we can call them the majority. The rest we can name them the people who are part of the society, and these are being divided into two categories. So first of all, in terms of the ethnicity, we have Turkmen, we have also Arab, we have people, Kakis or people like this. And also we have, on the other side, we have people who are religiously, so Kaki is a kind of religion. On the other side, we have people who are, in terms of their religious background, they are different. So we have Yazidi, who ethnicity is more related to Kurdish society. And also, once we're going to talk about these people, I have some kind of the opportunity to speak with these people inside the book, because we as a Kurd, we see them as a minority from the point of view are religiously different or religiously are minority. However, once we're going to have the talk with them, most of the time we are talking with them, they identify themselves with ethnicity. So they are ethnic group who has the root in Kurdistan region since the Assyrian, Babylonian period. So now continuously they inhabiting the area. So they divide. So this is why it's a bit tricky. But again, these people can be divided into two categories: ethnicity or religiously. But again, within religious people, again we have subdivisions. So this is the people, but why it's important, and this is an important question, why it's important today to talk about the minorities. It's not about just the people who are living in the society. It's important about them. This historically, this is an issue. This has been an issue within Iraq since the establishment of the Iraq at the beginning of the 20th centuries. Iraq has been dominated by one power, by a power who has represented to one part of the society, who is the Arab Sunnis, who this idea from their perspective, and we know that at the beginning of the 20th century, there was a kind of the rise of the Arab nationalism within the region. So this is why the Arab Sunni who tried to impose their identity on the country. So this is why structurally, these people has been marginalized from everything that's from the not from the society, but especially from the education, from their identity. So this is why historically it is important now to reverse this kind of issue, starting to identify this problem, to tackle it. And the best way, I guess, as the transition process has started to tackle is through the education, because through the education we can make the social fact. The social fact, it's what the people can be understand. This is a normal within the society. This social fact cannot be done or cannot be created without the education. So transition has come to this to tackle this issue within the higher education. So now we are working few work packages we just developed, and hopefully we're gonna be in better position. And again, there are so many other important stuff like for the justice, for the identity, for these people who has all the rights to be an equal right with the people within the region. So again, this is very important. Again, once we're gonna tackle this problem, it's gonna be perceiving this culture here is very important for the society. People will feel they are part of the society. Without this, we cannot go ahead. We are not going to continue to be a homogeneous society of the kind harmony between the people within the society. And this is why it's very important to tackle this issue. And from my perspective, I can say that we should start from the higher education, from education of all, but the higher education will have the most part of that.
So based on your knowledge and experience, what are the main threats facing cultural heritage of minority communities in the Kurdistan region today?
Again, when you ask me about the main threat, there are so many threats, but you ask me about the main threat. So from my point of view, there is, yes, we saw that so many cultural heritage has been destroyed. But again, from my point of view, it's the structural problem. So once the minority structure has been marginalized from the community, from the power, from the education, from the every right that they have, this is the main problem. If we're trying to solve that, this is the need to be institutionally be recognized, because they have institutionally marginalized, and this is why this is from what I think it's the one of the main problem, because within the structure they even have been marginalized. Again, demographic change. This is a very important point that we need to should focus on that, because since what happened, we all know that what's happened in about. Since the ISIS, when they take over some parts of the Iraq, that so many of these queens has been tried to escape because they have been in very bad situation. They've been nobody could ever human could had this experience, because it was very, very tough, and they've been. We all know that what's happened with that period. So this is why now is demographic and this space, this area within the Kurdistan region or Middle East as well. Demography has made so many people from that community has started to migrate from outside the region. And if we look, I don't have the exact number, but in Iraq that we have almost more than 2 million Christians from the Iraq. So nowadays people are talking about only 500,000. So most of them, they have tried and already has went outside of Iraq. They may be in Europe, other countries, United States. And this is make a very challenges, because this people has been migrated, and this is the place that where they were being. Some communities that they've been like for thousands of years, they've been in that country and that place. So this is one of the threat. And also I can say that one of the threats is that their heritage has been neglected since the structure of the power in Iraq, since the beginning of the 20th century. They have focused on the one ethnic group with one ethnic, one religious and sect, which is Arab Sunni, Arab Muslim Sunni. So the rest cultural heritage of the other communities, so all been marginalized and neglected, and this has been one of the main effects that so many of this culture has been destroyed or disappeared, or because there's no attention to this culture to protect. So this is why we need to now to pay attention to that cultural heritage. We need to solve the structural point within the society. Then we come back to again, do not marginalize and bring them to the society again. Then if we do the first and the second, then we can say that we are going to start again to protect their cultural heritage. And this is one of the duty of, I guess, it's we should take into consideration as academia. And also one of the threat that still that I would say the relation between power and knowledge in Kurdistan still has the way has been in the same way has been in Iraq since the 20th centuries, because the power will impose their vision on the education. So the education, we are not still we are kind in the domain of the power. We are still not nowhere in the world are totally free. I do understand that, but again, we should have some kind of space to be free. At least we can talk. So this is why we need to in the university. So we start as academic to start really at least to talk about it, at least to integrate these communities within the curriculum and within the everyday life within the university. So this is why it is very important for us to take this into consideration.
Yes, that takes us to the following question. The next question. You recently coordinated a study on how cultural heritage, particularly that of minority communities, is taught at several universities in the Kurdistan region of Iraq and in Yemen, as part, of course, of the transition project. How well, in your opinion, and based on this study, is the heritage of minority communities represented in these university curricula? And what were the main challenges that this study identified?
Well, at the beginning of the with the World Package 2, with this project of the transition, so we made that like a survey among the universities. So we collect all the curriculum especially from the Department of History and Sociology, from the 6 universities has been participated. And then I started with the World Package 2. We, as a Soran University, our responsibility, we started to analyze all these curriculum. Within that curriculum, we find that so many gaps, so many problems that exist. So within that curriculum, there was no talk about the minority. Sadly, this is the situation in both in Kurdistan and Yemen. So the curriculum, it's based on the vision within the majority, and there is no mention or there is no taking into consideration there are other people who have different background, different religions, different ethnicity, and these people has not been integrated to the curriculum. And also we have like a lack of specialized experience and resources. So we don't have this people who could work on that. We have the capacity, but the capacity is not enough to tackle all the problem, all the issues that we have. And again, we have so many other problems. This is the thing that it's still sensitive issue within the society. From our working with this transition, we have some kind of interview or sitting with the minority themselves. One of the issues that we identified that this community will, at themselves, they do not like to the majority to talk about them. They marginalize themselves in a sense that we believe that they've been marginalized. But this idea, they are marginalized, that imposed upon them, and they now marginalize themselves as well. So you have the marginalizing from both sides. The people within the communities, that community, they marginalize, they do not have a communication or that direct communication within the people of the majority. And this is the issue that we need to tackle, not only within the majority, but within the minority as well. So that the work should be from both sides to bring them. It's not upon the majority alone, to bring them to the society and gave them the safe like spaces to talk, to say what they believe, what their idea, how they feel. And this is again one other thing I would like to mention here, that's during our survey and few like interviews, we identified like differences again within our regions, between Yemen and within the Kurdistan regions. Within the Yemeniyat, their curriculum was somehow integrated the cultural heritage within the curriculum. Within Kurdistan, the cultural heritage, protecting and preserving this has not been very articulated, had not been very been talked about within the curriculum. But the thing that is that they are different between Yemen and Kurdistan is that the Yemenis, or let's say start from the Kurdish society, with all these universities we started, the community are ready for the change. The community, the academic staff or the academic people are ready to identify, to talk about the minority, about their right, about their identity, to give them all the freedom, to give them their sense of to be part of the society. So the Kurdish Academy was pushing for that, and the government again was in a line with this. They are pushing with this. However, the issue that you're going to say that if the academic would like to push for that way, and the government is the power also like, so what's the issue? What's the obstacle regarding this? The obstacle is coming from this lack of resources, lack of the capacity within the academy, because we have people who talk, but they cannot do it. Yes, so many people as I say. So again, we need the point that I would like to focus on, and I have repeated so many times, is that the structure of the power and the relation between academia within the power. This need to be tackled, and this is the problem. On the other side, when we talk about the Yemenis, the issue was, to be honest, we have to speak freely about that, because even the minority that we have, like people minorities from Maghdid, from Jewish, from Christian, within the Yemen, from Indian origin they came, and sometimes they come from the East Africa. They do not like to talk about it. The still people within academia do not tackle or do not admit there's a problem with that issue. They say, and they're trying to give an idea that all these people has been melted in the Arab identity and they don't have a problem. And the people who have the problem is who themselves like self-marginalize it. So that's the issue, the very small issue that it's not a small, it's a very big. But if you go into detail, this is an issue that we need to tackle within the Yemeni side, because if in the Kurdistan region, people are the government, are the people, the academia, pushing for giving the Yazidi people, for the Christian, all these the rights and talk with them. But from Yemeni side, it still needs so many works that people are not the majority, let's say, that the academia still do not identify this as a problem.
So maybe the first step would be recognize that this is an issue, and it's not really being recognized as an issue, right?
It's right. But in Kurdistan region, it's easier. If we're going to start tomorrow with putting a national strategy to tackle the problem, everything is ready. So the society are ready to accept that. Mm-hmm. So you don't have many problems to do it. However, within Yemen, so you have to convince the elite of the academia, the elite of the who's people in the power, the politician. These people are being marginalized. So that's give us a tougher like situation. So it's a problem within that context. It needs more work, and I don't know the situation, the political situation in Yemen will allow people to work on that or not, but this is the case in Yemen.
Mm-hmm. And finally, in your view, how can the transition project somehow contribute to the preservation of cultural heritage in the Kurdistan region of Iraq? How this project might support or even transform the way heritage is taught?
So now we come to the transition project. Transition project, we should admit that right now we made that, like, transition project had made an impact on the small people who been part of the project. So as the university, 4 universities have been in Kurdistan, there is already the staff of this university has been within the taking part of the transition. They have been better understanding of the right and the way that we should talk about the minority and how what's the right, all the things about the minority. That's a fair thing I would like to talk about. But again, in long term, when we will talk about how the transition project will has an impact, this is a very important point, because now that the transition project is working in very critical point, which is bridging the gap between the university, curriculum universities, and how we're going to deal with preservation, how we're going to preserve with the society. So it's now what we come to somehow throughout our discussions, throughout the work with the package work 2, 3, 4. So now it's preserving the cultural heritage of the minority. It's need to be a social fact within the community. So this culture, it's whenever they are a cultural heritage belonging to the community of the how to say in the minority, so it should be protected. But this protection cannot be the priority for the people unless it's going to be social fact. The social fact that we should come with the university, and again, university need the support from the government. So this transition project coming in the right time and the right vision that we need to tackle. So now the curriculum has been. We are, as a University of Soran, we started to go through all the curriculum within the history department, and I assume that the sociology department as well, they started to think about and to start work on that curriculum. So once we can, as I said at the beginning, the problem is institutional and structural within the society. So we, as a university, we are giving somehow an idea to the policymaker within the government. Once we came to that conclusion and we made all this stuff, like the necessary steps on that within the curriculum, then we're going to come teach the students. Once we can teach the students, when we can contact with the students, once the university has an impact on the society, then we can transfer all this idea to the society. This might not be done, and the impact of the transition, is, I said, it's already has been done on the few of academia. But again, the result might take a time, like maybe 1, 2, or 3 years, that we can real changes. But it's the right project in the right time and in the right place, because it will change what has exist within the society. As I said, the academia and the government are ready for the change, but we need some kind of support in that direction. So it starts, and I'm almost confident that this is gonna come in the few years, because within our university, as I said, we started, and once it's gonna be turned into a social fact, into normalized, that the people within like minority communities, their cultural is invalid or value with the same as the majority, then we can have the better, how to say, better harmony within the community. So that it's all linked together. So we cannot solve one problem to tackle with a single bullet, because it's all linked together. But from what we has experienced from the last 4 packages, it's very formative for the staff, and this is going to be a trainer. All of us has been trained to be trainer for other staff. This staff has been, we're taking 2 paths. One of them is we are going to reformat of the curriculum, and again, we're going to train other staffs within our university to be able to not only to identify, but also try to solve that issue. Then by the end of the few years, I'm sure that I'm confident that we will see a real change in people's understanding within of the preservation of the cultural heritage, whether it's tangible, whether intangible. We're going to see a real change within this region. And about Kurdistan, I'm not sure about what's going to happen in Yemen, but yes, transition is coming at the right time, in the right place, within the right vision. And thank you.
Thank you, Botan.
You're welcome.
If you'd like to know more, you'll find some useful links in the episode description. Until next time, thank you for listening.